Yeah.
How's that going? How's that going? And what do you do? Because I've been thinking about this before, and I just wondered what obviously if you want to speak about it in the thing, I don't mind, but I'm just
Yeah,
interested.
no, for sure. Like it's all online, isn't it? So that's the whole point behind my YouTube channel, just
Yeah,
showing
yeah,
people that you can do both, study by distance learning, doing university as well, just opens doors for you.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's good, mate. No, I like that a lot. Honestly, because I nearly went to. I'll say if you
Yeah.
wanted to speak about
Let's
anything.
let's jump in, man. Let's jump.
Yeah, go on then, mate. Go on then.
Yo, guys, it's episode 10 of the Beyond Football podcast. And today we got another footballer who does YouTube. He's amassed over like 1 million views on his YouTube channel, showing you guys the behind the scenes of, a young footballer and how it is. So welcome, Hereford footballer Toby Raison to the Beyond Football podcast.
Thank you, mate. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Come on, man. So let's hop straight in. We're just having a chat about it there. Like, so was it always a dream for you, becoming a footballer from day one?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I'm sure, like the same as you, like playing since as young as I can remember. It's definitely always a dream for me, and still a dream now to go on and do even bigger things. I see what I'm doing now is small compared to the journey, but I'm thankful for where I am now and excited for the future. And it's definitely still a dream for me now. Yeah.
Yeah. So where did it all start for you?
So it started for me with my local Sunday league team, really. I'm from a county called Herefordshire, which is sort of like on the England-Wales border in England. Just playing for my local team called Ledbury Swifts. I'm sure no one in the whole entire world has ever heard of them. But played with them all the way through, really. I had a few different spells at different sort of like development centres and advanced development centres. I was never at a full-time academy. So my first sort of taste of that was, I think I was about 9, went to the development centre at Cheltenham Town, who are in League One now.
Yeah.
There for about 2 years. Then I moved to the Cardiff City like advanced development centre, so sort of like one up from that, but still not academy level.
Yeah.
Was there for about 2 years as well. That was from about the ages of sort of 10 to 12. And then that centre actually where I used to play like moved away, and it moved like way too far away from me for traveling. So
yeah,
I had to leave there. And then probably about half a year later, I joined the Hereford Academy. So the team I'm playing for now, I joined their academy.
Nice.
But that still wasn't, because it was sort of like non-league. It wasn't full time. So that would be like twice a week, once or twice a week training. I'm not quite sure, can't remember, but I was there from the ages of 13 to 15. And I actually got released from there at the age of 15. And but through this whole time, I was still playing with my Sunday league team because none of them were full-time setups. So got released from there, went and played for my Sunday league team for a year after I got released. And then from there, so I would have been about 15 at the time. So played with my Sunday league team for a year. And then at 16, I went into men's football.
Okay, wow. At 16?
Yeah, when I say men's football, literally the lowest level of men's football you could possibly go into.
Yeah.
So it's literally, again, led
Sunday league men's football.
What was that? Sorry, mate.
Like Sunday league men's football, yeah.
Basically, but it was on a Saturday, but it was effectively like Sunday league.
Yeah. But just to hold you up there, like,
go on, mate.
How was it like, at that point, where you're playing Sunday league and go to these academies, like the balance between that, the environments there, how was it?
Yeah, a lot different. I remember just like the difference between playing in my Sunday team and going into those different clubs. Or in my Sunday team, I was always one of the better players of being a local, being sort of a really local side, like small team, like going from there to like playing in the other teams where I would be like one of the lowest level players there, like at least middle. Like it's obviously a big difference, and like it's a good learning opportunity, but also it can be a little bit harder, just to keep that level of enjoyment there. But definitely I enjoyed my time at all the clubs, but Sunday league I definitely was more fun, especially like playing with your mates and that as well. You obviously make friends when you go to these clubs, but you're with your sort of local boys you've known since you were like 6,
Yeah,
7.
yeah, trust.
Different sort of feeling.
It's really good, yeah. So at this point where you like had your eyes set on becoming a footballer, like completely at that point, when you were like from like the age of 9 to like the 15 until you went to Hereford?
It was always my dream, but to be fair, I didn't know how realistic it was. Having no sort of where I'm from, the closest like fully like football league club is probably about an hour away, like in
Yeah,
any direction. So it's difficult to sort of imagine that pathway. But I always just had a feeling, and it was always my dream for that to be sort of my reality. And but at that age, I would say that wasn't my plan as such. I didn't
yeah.
at that sort of age. I wasn't like this or nothing. For
Mm-mm.
sure, I definitely came later on.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's good. So like there wasn't any like pressure from family or anything like to,
No,
yeah, that's good. That's
definitely.
good. So
And
obviously,
like,
going
go
through
on.
that experience of, balancing, Sunday league and, those academy and Hereford as well, what were like, was being released one of like the biggest struggles that you had to experience, growing up playing football and stuff like that?
Yeah, 100%. Especially because the two clubs I was at before with Cheltenham and Cardiff, like technically I didn't get released. Like the sort of centres moved away, so it wasn't really a bad reflection on me as such, if you know what
Yeah,
I mean. So yeah, that was really, really hard for me, and I found it especially difficult. It's like obviously you're playing in this team, and then you have to sort of come away from that and like obviously tell your friends, yeah, I've been released, and
yeah, yeah.
it's difficult, and especially for I was like 14, 15 at the time, like it's hard at that young age sort of to take that, and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing,
Yeah,
really.
especially when you're known as the footballer and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what we're saying. That's why it's good to have an identity beyond that, so that you're not just known as that guy who plays football and
Couldn't
stuff
agree
like that.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And that was it was really hard for me. So I was there for 3 years at Hereford, but the first 2 years I was actually there, and the third year, after they said they wanted to release me, I asked if I could just carry on training.
Yeah, yeah.
So I stayed there for a year, just training, not playing in any of their games or anything, and then was just playing and training with my Sunday league team as well, because I just wanted to carry on getting that. Obviously, clearly, I was one of the worst players in the team if they released me. I thought I was better than that, but obviously, that's how they viewed me.
Yeah.
Uh, to be able to train in that environment and obviously still keep learning was really hard, because obviously you're the one that's not playing games. You're like, why is he not playing games but just training? But at the same time, like I'm there getting better. I'm not sure what was in my head at that sort of time to want to do that, but it was just
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
came natural to me that that's the thing I wanted to do. Thankfully, my family supported me and still taking me to that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had that opportunity, because I wouldn't have been able to get there myself.
That's great.
So yeah, I'm thankful for that, and probably developed me quite a lot as a character as well, having that sort of people look at you like in that sort of way.
Word. And it's like, what made you like what obviously made you still have that drive to keep going during that period of time, after you got released, and like what motivated you to obviously keep going towards, and like just keep going training, still, making your ways to show what you can actually do and stuff like that?
I'd probably say like just because I just loved it so much, mate. To be fair, like
Yeah,
just
yeah.
playing football, just like it was the only thing I knew really.
Yeah.
I didn't really have any big passions outside of football in terms of going out and doing things away from home. So like I just loved it, to be fair, and that was the main thing for me. And I always just wanted to get better as well. Thankfully, I took that rejection in a good, positive way rather than a negative way. I'm sure it would have been easy to go the other way, but I think, to be fair, having like family that supported me and sort of like weren't that sort of like pushing me into it, I guess I was a bit more relaxed and I just wanted to carry on. I wasn't pressured to carry on. So I think that led to me having a bit more motivation to just do it out of the love for it almost.
Yeah. That's good. That's good to hear. So then that obviously, that same passion, I can obviously, from watching your YouTube videos, I've been watching YouTube videos, especially before I started my channel and stuff like that. That really like inspired me, obviously, to see, the behind the scenes, the enthusiasm, and just like what we footballers go through and stuff like that. So obviously those situations, did that inspire you to obviously create the YouTube channel and do what you're doing today,
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to just sort of show my journey. I didn't really have a clue what would happen at the time. Like when I first started my channel, I was 16. I was playing for the Saturday men's team. Like I think it's like England, like Division 12 or like 13. I think that team's in. So like I was
when you're
there.
16 though, so
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's quite different to obviously most people. When they get released, they'll still try and look for other academies, but
Yeah, for sure.
playing at men's football at 16 is quite good, to be fair.
It definitely, it really helped me. Like I was a midfield, I'm a centre back now, but at the time I was a centre midfielder, like 6'4", gangly, like just sort of like a giraffe running around the midfield basically. And playing against like horrible like 35-year-old men that are just like built like this, and
yeah.
it was good for me. And like to be fair, like I wasn't playing every week, and I still had to work to get like into that team, and but that was good for me. And I just sort of wanted to start my channel because at that point, 16, it's something I really wanted to do. Then that's when I started really thinking, like things were coming into the equation where I had to decide whether I wanted to do what I wanted to do after school, and I just at that point then, so I had that mentality switch of this is actually really something I want to do, and if it's something I'm going to do, I might as well just document what I'm doing. So that was my thought process, really.
That's good. And like, how do you find, balancing your football with the YouTube and stuff like that? Because obviously, as soon as since I've been doing YouTube for like a year now, and editing videos, ideas and stuff like that. How do you find that?
Yeah, I found it all right, to be fair. Like, I think if you can sort of get that balance right where football's still your priority and then it's sort of like a side hobby sort of thing, then I think it comes quite natural. To be fair, I've been a little bit inconsistent I say a little bit, I have been inconsistent over the last year, 2 years, which nothing apart from my own doing. So that's something I'm looking to improve. And this year I sort of set myself the goal of trying to do sort of one a week. I found that in the past, like I'd go like ham on it for like a specific time, like maybe a month or something, and then I just burn myself out. And it's naivety really, because I've done it like 2 or 3 times now. So this time I've really said to myself that if I want to do it, then I just need to sort of delegate my time a bit more and say like only do a specific amount, which is like doable for me, and just sort of keep that consistency for a long period of time. And it's really hard, so anybody that does it, I have a lot of respect for them.
100%, that's what I'm saying. Like when I seen your channel and the way you do it and everything, got your community and stuff like that. It's really, really good to see, and especially with me, especially when I, create a video and you spend time editing it and that, and like this, I get the satisfaction from obviously, there's all the comments and that, the positive comments where people are like, they were like positively impacted by it and stuff like that. That's when, it just feels good. Where actually like the editing and all that, when it comes off and people are saying that, oh, they really enjoyed the video and that feeling is amazing.
Do you enjoy the editing like side of it?
No, I definitely like. I enjoy it because it's like you're creating like
your baby, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like you're creating like you're putting stuff together for people to enjoy now. So then like when people come back and they're like, oh yeah, that video was enjoyable. It's like, rah, like, I done that. Because obviously I edit all my videos and it's like I spend time on it, like. And I watch it back because before I release the video, I've watched the video about like 10 times to obviously to make sure people are actually enjoying the content, the music, the cuts, everything. So like this time last year, I didn't have a clue, but obviously watching YouTube videos and that now, it's like, it's actually a skill. It's a real skill.
Yeah, definitely. You learn on the job as well, isn't it? Like the more
Yeah,
you do, like the better you get as well.
yeah, literally.
I
But
come
yeah,
back after a couple of months out and I was rusty as hell, man. I didn't know where anything was.
them ones, man. Yeah, so obviously, so you're 16 now,
Yeah.
Experience and all that stuff. You start your YouTube channel. So how did that experience from obviously you're 16 to end up being a pro? How did that work and what was the process?
So yeah, 16, playing for that Saturday men's team. Alongside that, I was playing for like an under-18s Midland Floodlit League, it was called. So it's basically like the team was playing in what division? About Division 9, so a couple levels higher, but it was like the under-18s team for them. And I would play for them in the week on I think it was like a Wednesday night, and then I play games for the Saturday team as well. So I was having like two sort of things going on at the same time, two new dressing rooms as well. So that was good for me, just extra sort of like development, I guess.
Yeah.
I played there for a year, and then the next year there was an opportunity. So I would have been 17 now, and there was an opportunity to retrial for the Hereford under-18s team. So still not sort of a scholarship basis, still literally like training. We would have been once a week then. But there was an opportunity to retrial that came up, and it was like at the end of the previous season, and sort of and if you got through that, then you got offered like a trial next pre-season sort of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I thought I might as well just give it a go, innit? And when done decent, to be fair, got offered a sort of pre-season trial, like a 6-week pre-season trial, and to be fair, like in that off season, I worked my ass off to get back fit, like flying. So I come back pre-season, and thankfully I was successful. I played 2 or 3 pre-season games for them, and then I re-signed for the Hereford under-18, so back at the same club I was at before. Still when I was there, I carried on playing for that men's Saturday team just to keep that, because they were still midweek games as well. So keep the Saturday midweek games, so as much games as possible, really.
Yeah. That's great. Obviously they obviously released you when you were younger, and then for you to obviously go back and keep at it, keep working hard and just improve, and then you come back and obviously show them, okay, this is why you shouldn't have released me before. Like, that's amazing, obviously, especially at such a young age. And
yeah, appreciate that, thank you.
Like as well, like the fact that you're playing the Saturday team and then you're playing that as well, it's like it's really getting you ready for the men's game. It's quite intense. Like, you don't really hear about journeys like this, when it's the other side of football, compared to the glamorous academy football, where they go through the top academies, through the ranks and then make your first team debut. This is something different. That's why obviously it's good to get insight into all this.
Yeah, and definitely I feel like that was part of the reason why I wanted to like document it, because it's like so like I don't know, like you don't see anything about it really.
Yeah,
like
no one else is doing it.
Yeah, and there's not that many situations where like there is, but you just don't see it, where like people come through like sort of that way, like up the league sort of thing, that haven't come through the academies. And I think it's important for people to know that that's like a possibility. Like,
yeah,
100% is like things like I know throughout my time just up to there, like things sort of went in my favor in certain situations and didn't in others, and you have to get that little bit of luck sometimes, like
definitely
to get that sort of break. And then when you get that break, it's just about doing your best, really. You can't do anything more than
that. Word. So it's like, after this time where you obviously re-signed for Hereford, was this now the point where you're like football only, or did you have other things that you wanted to focus on and stuff like that?
So when I was with Hereford now, I was still at sixth form doing my A levels. So just at my local sixth form in my local town, and I was doing my A levels where I was doing maths, biology, and PE. The thought of maths makes me sick now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So you're doing those 3 A levels.
yeah. So I was
Okay,
doing that
nice.
with the football as well. So
How was
so
that?
yeah,
How was balancing that?
it was good. I found it all right, to be fair. I was always decent in school, thankfully. Like I always worked hard, but I was naturally pretty good in school. So I'm thankful for that. But like it was definitely good for me. I guess the hard work sort of transferred over into all the different areas, and obviously I
Yeah,
had to concentrate on that as well. But definitely with the football, like it was extra incentive for me to, I don't know, knuckle down, because I guess if football was what I wanted to do, then I had to make that as much as a priority as maintaining my schoolwork. But I had to make sure I do both. So yeah, it was challenging, but I think I managed quite well, to be fair, at the time.
yeah, that's great. That's great to hear. It's like this is another example of obviously showing people that it's possible to be successful in both.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
especially as obviously I studied A levels as well when I was a scholar at West Ham. So I've done A
Yeah,
level psychology as well. So, just balancing that. And that's what the channel's all about, showing people that it's possible. So to have another person on that obviously done the same thing, you done 3, which is incredible. Like, so that's
but
great.
it made it easy. I was at school, to be fair, and I'm guessing you were full time as well. And I was only doing like night training, so
Yeah, yeah,
obviously that made it easier in my sense. But yeah, it's good.
yeah, definitely. So obviously at this point, what were you planning on doing with those A levels?
So I had a place at university, but so I applied for university because I didn't know what was going to happen with my football, like whatsoever. In my head, my plan, I had my old YouTube videos, like first or second video. I planned out my whole goals, 5-year plans, and all that.
Yeah,
And then my plan was to go to uni, play semi-pro while I was at uni, and then sort of like be at uni for like 3 years, sort of thing. Play semi-pro while I was at uni, and then pursue my goal of becoming a professional afterwards. So
yeah,
sort of
yeah,
like get as high as I could when I was semi-pro, and then do that. That was sort of my goal. So that's why the A levels were always important for me, because I thought like it is so feasible that you go to university. By the time you leave, you'll be like 21. Play
hmm,
semi-pro. If you get to the highest level of semi-pro you can whilst you're at uni, you're still 21 when you come out. Like you can easily still go pro. Do you know what I mean? I've
yeah,
seen things
yeah,
that people have done that as well. So that was sort of my intentions. So I had a place at university. I had a place at Birmingham University to do physiotherapy. That's what I was going to do.
yeah.
And I got that. I got given that place as well. Thankfully, I got the grades I needed to go. So that was all like lined up, sort
Set
of thing.
up, yeah, yeah. That's good to hear.
Yeah, and then, well, I'll speak about what happened next afterwards. I don't want to ruin your flow.
No, no, it's cool. Like that's good to hear. So obviously you pattern your grades and that. So you had obviously it's good to know that you were organized and stuff like that. So you knew whichever happened, like you had a pathway in place, and football wasn't that be all end all and everything. That's good to hear. But yeah, you can continue obviously the other side
Yeah.
of that story.
Yeah, so I had my place at uni whilst I was playing with the under 18s. So I was the second year when I joined the Hereford under 18s already. So it was in that season. We had a decent season, to be fair. We did all right in the youth cup as well. We won about 4 games and managed to get to the first round,
Yeah,
which was good for us as a club. It was like a record for the Hereford. So we played away at Portsmouth in the FA Youth Cup in the first round. So that was a good experience for me. My first real game playing in like a big stadium, at Fratton Park, Portsmouth Stadium. So
yeah, yeah.
that was good. We got pumped 5-1, but it was still good.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then after that was in about December, and then I got my first experience with the first team, and I travelled to an away game just after the New Year.
Yeah.
So I travelled with the first team, stayed over like a night stay on a Friday night up to Gateshead it was, which is like up near Newcastle. So it was a long way, like 4 hours or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. How old were you?
So I would have been 17.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah, so I travelled with them. I wasn't on the bench. I was like the travelling sub.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and yeah, that was my first real experience with the first team. And then from there, I went on to like train with the first team as well as the under 18s. So
yeah,
until this was the new year of 2020. So this is then when I was training with until March, and when COVID came about. So
yeah.
I was training until March, and then with the under 18s and the first team, I managed to get on the bench once. I'm named on the bench in the league, so that was good. That was just after my 18th birthday, so that was a good experience for me. And then obviously the season got shut down in March when COVID hit, so that was like a big thing really. But thankfully, the manager and the assistant manager had spoke to me, like the first team, and
Yeah.
said that they wanted me to come in for like a pre-season trial the next year.
Okay.
So
For the first
this is
team.
for the first team, yeah,
Yeah,
because there's
no,
no under 23s at Hereford, so it was that sort of that jump from under 18s to first team, and this
yeah,
is where I had the sort of big conundrum really, because I had a place at uni, and then I had a pre-season trial opportunity at Hereford, and in the year before, when I was training with the first team in under 18s, the training for Hereford was in the evenings,
yeah,
and so I could have gone uni and done it if it stayed like that.
yeah,
However, this new manager came in, and the manager we've got at the moment, and he wanted to change it to more like a professional environment. I wanted to change it to the mornings for training.
yeah,
So
yeah,
obviously, because of that, I couldn't do uni and football.
yeah,
So that's where I had to make a bit of a decision. So I decided in the end to. It wasn't so much of a gamble because it wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world, but I decided to defer my place at uni, so push it a year back basically, and
yeah,
have a gap year as such, and take the opportunity of the pre-season trial and just see what happens.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Nice.
so it was kind of good because there was literally like no pressure on me whatsoever. Like if it didn't work out, like on the pre-season trial, I'd have a year to myself, maybe go
Mm.
work for a year, and then go to university the next year. So like, thankfully, it wasn't much pressure on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had that conundrum to make, and that was the decision I made in the end.
That's sweet. It's great to obviously see that you know your pathways, you know what you're doing and stuff like that. It's good to hear, shows that you're not relying on, if football doesn't work out, you still got something there.
Yeah.
Right. So how did you end up, becoming, signing for your professional contract and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I went for the pre-season trial. We played about, I reckon, about 3 or 4 games. Thankfully, there was only one like senior centre half that had been signed for pre-season. Like by the time pre-season started, so basically I was chucked in at the deep end, and so I would have been 18 at the time. And I started the first pre-season game, which was only against like a local team, but it was against sort of like I think, so Hereford's Division 6/Step 2, and this team was like maybe 3 leagues below, I think.
Yeah.
Started that game, done decent to be fair. Started in like with the sort of what would have been like starting 11 at the time, because there was no other centre half. So thankfully I had like senior pros around me sort of thing, or senior
Yeah,
players, which
yeah.
really helped me. And then started the next game, which was against Newport, so a League Two team, and I'm 18, and the only games I've played in for men's football are like Division like 12 or whatever.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that
Good
was,
experience.
yeah, massive. Like playing against players that have scored like 50 goals in the league, and that, like, yeah, it was tough to be fair. I think we
Mm,
lost 3-0 or something.
mm.
But like the experience was unreal. And to be fair, I thought I actually done all right. After watching the game back, like from a perspective now, thinking where I was then, I actually done.
Yeah,
I can't believe how well I actually did in
yeah,
that sense.
yeah. That's good, man.
So played that one, I think, and then the next game didn't start, but came on at half time with like a second 11 and captained the team in the second half. It was like a team of
There you go.
trialists basically. But the captain, the trialist team, which was mad for me, which I've always been that sort of leadership character, but I didn't think I'd get that opportunity that young.
That's quite good. Captain at 18, a men's team as well.
Yeah, it was good. It was an honour, to be fair. And then in the next game, we sort of started with the backup 11 as such, like the trialist 11, and I captained the team from the start in that game.
Yeah.
Against a team like 2 leagues below Hereford. And after that game, manager sort of said to me, I think in the next training session or whatever, that he wanted to sign me on, wanted to give me a chance. And yeah, it was surreal, really. I didn't know whether, obviously at Hereford's level, you can either get put on a full, because it's not fully full-time every day, you can get put on an actual contract, or you can get put on a non-contract sort of thing, where you can you can be released it's different options. And I didn't know what they were going to put me on, to be fair. And when I went to sign the contract, it was a bit all up in the air. It wasn't anything fancy. We was in the gym. We'd done a gym session. I swear to God, I got off this watt bike. I'd just done 15 calories or something in some 30-second sprint, and they were chairman was in there as well. He was like, "Do you want to come over?" And I'm there trying to sign this. My hand is shaking, and I'm sweating. But signed it. Yeah, and they put me on a full contract sort of thing. And yeah, that was it. That was there. And thankfully, the gamble of deferring my place at uni and taking that pre-season trial paid off. Yeah,
that's it. And it's good to hear. That's the complete other side of the football journey of signing your first professional contract. Obviously, that hard work, being released by them earlier when you're younger, and then coming back stronger. That's great to hear.
Appreciate that, man.
That's top. So obviously now, so now since then, you've obviously been playing with them. You've been playing men's football from a young age. How has that been, in a men's football environment as a young player?
Yeah, so last year was a tough year for me. My first year after I just signed that contract. So because of the COVID and stuff, all the leagues below were cancelled very early on. In October, I think it was. And my initial plan that year was to get out on loan and just play some games and sort of develop. But that got scrapped as soon as the leagues below got cancelled, because I literally couldn't go out.
I can't hear you properly.
Has it come back now?
Yeah, it's back now.
I don't know what happened. You might have to cut that out.
Yeah, it should be cool.
Yeah. Done it. I don't know what's going on, mate. It keeps connecting to my earphones, which I haven't even got out. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
If it does it again, just let me know. What is it?
Yeah, you said leagues below got cancelled and stuff.
Yeah, so the leagues below got cancelled, so I literally couldn't get out on loan. But thankfully, with Hereford, we had a really, really good run in the FA Trophy, which is sort of the non-league FA Cup, basically.
Yeah.
And we got to the final of that. So that was in May. And because that was deemed as a fully professional competition, because teams in the league were above were in it, that sort of carried on. So we literally trained all the way through to May, like you would have if you was in the leagues above.
Yeah.
So basically, I had a year of just team training, because I made 2 appearances off the bench in that FA Trophy in the Cup, which is when I made my debut.
Yeah.
That was it. I didn't play in the league or anything like that. So basically, it was a year of just team training for me, which I was thankful for, because if I was any leagues below, then I wouldn't have even had any team training. So I was lucky, mate. Really, really lucky. And then coming into this year, so re-signed, and it was sort of the same plan again, get out on loan, play games, and thankfully I've been able to do that. So in the first half of the season, I went out on loan. I had I think it was a 4 or 5 month loan until the beginning of January at a team called Hereford Town. So they play in the league, 1 league below Hereford, in the Southern Prem South.
Yeah.
So 1 league below. Really, really pleased to get that sorted, because Hereford's a decent sized club as well. They've got a good fan base for the league they're in.
Yeah.
and had a good loan. Didn't go exactly to plan, to be fair. Was meant to go in, start basically every game. It got started off not great because I played the sort of last 2 preseason games before the start of the season, like in the start, ready to go. And then I missed the first 4 games of the season because I was waiting for international clearance, because Murph is actually in Wales, but they play in the English leagues.
Oh, wow.
So it killed me. Like, and then we was playing a 3 at the back, 3 centre backs, and because I wasn't available, they changed to a 2 at the back, or like 4 at the back. And so obviously when I come back trying to get back into the team after 4 games, it's already got a mountain to climb, sort of thing. So that killed me early doors. And then from there, never really found the consistency of staying in the team. Played 13 league games in the end, so it wasn't too bad. 13 league games, 2 goals, and 3 in the cup it was. So it was all right. It could have gone better and it could have gone worse. So it wasn't the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. No, that's calm, man. It's been a nice little different side of the journey, especially, completely different to what you usually hear.
Yeah.
Obviously now you Hereford on loan now and everything, you end up deferring your uni place. So now obviously the question now, like, who are you beyond football?
It's a tough question, to be fair. And it's something I've actually been thinking about a lot more recently than I did before. Last year, especially, I had some tough moments where it was my first year as a pro, and I'm not playing any games. Like, I'm not involved. You get people asking questions like, how's it going at Hereford? Like, how are you getting on? Like, you're not been in the squads, like, that sort of thing. And like, it's really tough when you're deemed as this like footballer. It's like the only thing I'm seen as, and I know in my head I'm a youngster and I'm waiting for an opportunity, but in other people's head it's like, wow, it's not going well for him, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I found that really tough mentally. Like, it definitely took its toll on me. And by the end of last season, like, I was struggling, to be fair. And coming into this year, I've changed that quite a lot. Like, in terms of not seeing myself as that footballer and just sort of just trying to be more like just Toby, like just me, like with my mates, and
that's it.
That. And I never seen myself as a footballer with my mates anyway, and that's why I like being with my mates and stuff. But I've tried to. I took a break from YouTube for a while, and I think that did help me in the sense that it allowed me that time just to establish that, because it's hard when you're like especially when you're making YouTube videos and that about being a footballer, that can put extra strain on you if you are not mentally prepared to deal with that. And now I feel in a good place where I'm not just a footballer. I'm other things, like I'm with my friends, I'm caring, I'm kind, I can have a laugh. Like, that's all like things that are me and not just kicking a football around.
That's great. That's what we like to hear.
Yeah, it's good, man.
That's how it should be, You're Toby who plays football, not the footballer who's Toby.
I like that a lot, mate. And I think it's so true. Like, and it's so hard not to cross that line as well. Like,
100%.
It's definitely very difficult. And if you get that wrong, which is easily done, it can be really mentally tiring. And I think like another thing, like for me, like before I would be like last year, I would be 24/7. I'm a footballer, like in my head.
Yeah.
Like I before last year, like I'd never had a drink. Like I wouldn't really go out too much in terms of like evenings and that. Like on the weekend or anything like that. And I saw myself as this sort of like, if I need to have a chance of like getting my aspirations, then I need to be on this 24/7 every day of the week.
And it's like that, it can consume you.
100%.
Whereas, like, me as well, when I was younger, stuff like that, games, stuff like that. Maybe if you make a mistake, it will just consume you, affect, the rest of your day, stuff like that. Obviously, it's good to obviously know that, there's life beyond football.
Yeah, and that's the sort of pathway I've took this year. Like, I've said to myself this year, which has been a really good thing for me, I've always tried to plan something after my games. So like on a Saturday, I have the week building up to the game and I'll prepare properly. Like, I'll do everything that I would usually do. But on a Saturday night, I need to have something planned that I want to do that I'm going to look forward to as well as my game.
Yeah.
Which means that Saturday night is not dependent on
What happens?
whatever happens on the pitch. And
Yeah.
whether it goes well, whether it goes average or whether it goes bad, I'm still going to go and do that thing and enjoy myself.
Yeah, that's a great thing to have.
And that's helped me so much. And it takes so much pressure off you because, like, now I know my weekend and my afternoon and my Saturday is not going to be dependent on how well this goes. And it takes the pressure off you. And to be fair, in my opinion, it's helped me play better. But that's not the reason why I'm doing it. My reason why I'm doing it is because I just need that. You need that downtime, and you need that something else to look forward to that can beyond football, I guess. You know what I mean? So
that's it, beyond football. No, that's great.
That's really helped me.
That's top, man. It's good. Hope people listening enjoy that. It's been amazing to hear about the whole complete journey, to me, to obviously most people that you usually hear, and how you've done that, how you've documented that in your YouTube channel and stuff like that. So it's been really good, man. But just to finish off, I've got some quick fire questions, episode 10, the Beyond Football podcast. So first one is best player you've played against.
I'd probably have to say this pre-season just gone, we played against Shrewsbury Town, who are a League One team. Yeah. And I came off the bench and came on, and I don't know if you have this experience, but if I come on off the bench, I need 5 minutes to like everything's like a whirlwind first 5 minutes. You know what I mean? It's just like getting used to it. And this striker, Daniel Udo, I think his name was. Yeah. Mate, he was a menace. And they scored like 2 goals or something after. Come on, he was decent, mate. And he whacked up for a header as well, and he elbowed me in my eye. And then cut I've still got like scar under this eye here where he whacked me. Yeah. So that evening was not decent for me. Ended up in A&E for like 6 hours after. So I was just thinking, I was like, oh my God, what's just going on?
So really done you in. Damn.
Mate, he's done me in big time. I can't lie.
So Messi or Ronaldo? Come on.
I've always said Ronaldo.
Yeah. It's definitely Ronaldo.
I don't know why. I do know why. I just like the fact he's so complete, and it's nothing to do with.
Yeah.
Messi is a joke, but
facts.
He's just so complete, Ronaldo. I'd have to say it.
Yeah. Favorite cheat food?
I got a bit of a sweet tooth, but also I do love a good burger. Good, fatty, greasy. There's this place in Hereford, called Beefy Boys. So if you ever go to Hereford, or anyone ever goes to Hereford, go Beefy Boys. Trust, burgers there are unbelievable.
Say no more. And what job would you want to do if you wasn't a footballer?
Good question. I wanted to go into physio before, but to be fair, my opinion's probably changed on that a little bit now. I probably wouldn't want to go into that. I don't know, I think if I wasn't a footballer, I'd still probably want to do something involving football. I think just because I love it so much. So maybe I'd probably go into maybe one-on-one coaching, or maybe mentorship or something like that, probably.
Yeah, makes sense. That's calm, man. No, it's been a pleasure. Episode 10 of the Beyond Football podcast. Make sure you guys, like, comment, and subscribe. Check out Toby's YouTube channel. He's definitely inspired my channel and stuff like that. So, make sure you listen to the podcast on Spotify, on most major listening platforms. And yeah, we're out. Thank you, Toby.
Been a pleasure, mate. Thanks for having me.
Beyond Football gang, we're out.